SoccerBallz.co.za.
We now have a very special Orlando Pirates guest.
One of the most decorated
and
South African footballers. Hasn't he won the league the most times? And
mate, everywhere he goes, they win the league. That's how it used to be. Daine Klate, how are you?
Good morning. Good morning to listeners. I'm good myself.
So, Dan, you've got Neal Collins here and you've got Mark Fish next to me. Mark Fish, a former Orlando Pirates player like yourself. Dan, just briefly run me through, as an Englishman, my knowledge before 2010 was a bit sketchy in South Africa. But as I understand it, everywhere you went, like we just said, SuperSport for 3 years and then Orlando Pirates for 2, you simply won league titles. Is that right?
Yeah, that's correct. Yeah, I think when Kevin Hunt came to SuperSport, he started winning league titles. Then when I left SuperSport, I just carried on with... I took the league titles with me to Pirates.
Yes, exactly. You took them with you to Pirates, leaving poor old Teka Modise to wait years until last year, and he finally broke his jinx, and you're sitting there with 5 medals. You're the Ryan Giggs of South African football. Daine, you've been watching much of this World Cup?
Yeah, I have. I've been watching. I've been following it quite steadily. So it's been good.
I think it's been a great World Cup. Do you, like me, blame Spain for making the South African World Cup a little bit turgid? Or are you glad to see them out? I am.
No, not at all. Kind of new 6 years of entertainment from them with classical football. And I'm looking forward to the next generation of Thiago Alcantara and all those players that's coming through. It's going to be exciting again.
Yeah, absolutely, mate. And is there anyone any side that you've picked out as going to be dark horses that we haven't quite predicted yet?
I would. Belgium for me it's got big names, but the thing I worry about Belgium, are they going to play like a team? Yeah. They scraped 2-1 the other night, not convincing, so if they're going to be a team, I think they'll go far.
Yeah, no, I think everyone picked up Belgium at the start, and then of course we've got Chile, and then of course Chile doing so well last night, and then Colombia with the other South American side that I kind of picked out as dark horses. They've got the Ivory Coast tonight. It'd be nice to see an African side win tonight, wouldn't it? And Ivory Coast more or less seal their place in the last 16.
Yeah, absolutely. It will be very, very nice, but the concerning thing about the African team is to hear all the politics off the field. That's the story of our lives for the past decade and more. All you hear is off the field. You saw Cameroon last night on the field. I think 2 players having a go at each other on the pitch. It's absolutely shocking, and it's a bad name for Africa once again. But hopefully Ivory Coast will set the record straight tonight and go through to the last 16, and just put a little bit of less of pressure on the African teams. I think if one goes through, Ghana would also do well and take stock from that.
No, Dan, it's Mark here. I do think that Ivory Coast is a lot more pedigree, a lot more talented players, and I think as we all know, that a lot of those players are coming to sort of nearly ending their national team careers, so they're a lot more at stake. But playing against a Colombian team, they're very talented and very what's the word we're looking at, Neal? Underrated team.
Yeah.
And so I expect it to be a game of a lot of attacking football. Let's hope for a lot of goals, because we've seen a lot of goals in the tournament thus far. But I think it's important, as you said, it's important that we have an African team that's going to go on and represent not only themselves as Ivory Coast, but as Africa, because I do fear that, obviously Cameroon's out, Ghana's got their backs against the wall. I don't know if they're certainly not the team of 2010. Nigeria certainly weren't convincing enough to put your money behind. The Algerians were very unlucky to concede a late goal against the Belgium. So it's not thus far not a really good World Cup for African teams.
Yeah, absolutely. This far, watching Nigeria the other night, I think that was the opportunity to get 3 points, and give themselves a better chance. It's going to be extremely difficult. The next 2 games is going to be tough games. I banked on that 3 points against Iran for Nigeria to go through, and get any draw or any result in the other 2 games would stand them in good stead to progress to the last 16. But they made it difficult for themselves now with only 1 point and 2 difficult group matches to come. Same with Ghana as well, and like you're saying, Ivory Coast, I think is our best hope at this point in time, looking forward.
Klate,
yes, sir.
whenever we talk about African football, we worry about Bafana. We're not there.
Yeah.
Any particular thoughts on Gordon Igesund or his successor?
Yeah, look, we can go on and on about coaches. Gordon is an exceptional coach. His record speaks for itself. He didn't do that bad with Bafana. A little bit unlucky against Ethiopia to get that to not get the result over there. I think we played fantastic football over there. We wanted the win. But look, not qualifying for the World Cup obviously was a blow, and then the Chan performance and all that, and then all the things in the media and everything. We can blame whoever we want. The problem is, the root of the problem is that development. I played for under 17, under 20, under 23, and now my mates, this 90% of the team should have been the team that I played with at under 23, under 20 level, and it's not the case. You find players making the debut 26, 27 years old, so we can't be pointing fingers at any coaches. We have to start over. We have to start from scratch and say we need to qualify for World Cup 2022. If we qualify for 2018, it's a bonus, but we need to start playing years now. We can't say next year or the year after. There's not going to be no quick fix for us at all. You need to get Mark Fisher there in the studio with you. I think he's been there, he's done it all. Let's rope in those guys that's done it for the country. Let's leave the politicians and all those people behind. Our football has been run by politics. That's why we're in this state at the moment.
No, unfortunately that. But please don't drag me into the problems of South African football, Daine. But most importantly, when you start pre-season training, and obviously was it very important for you guys to go on to win the Nedbank Cup, because I think as a Pirates fan, an ex-player, or all Pirates fans, there was a bit of pressure getting on the shoulders of Vivi. Obviously, the contrast of managerial skills between Roger and himself. How have you adapted to it? Are you looking forward to preseason training, and are you looking forward to the next season?
Yeah, no, I don't think any player can look forward to preseason. It's going to be really difficult. We're starting at 30 at the end of this month. Look, preseason is the most important part of any team. If you have a good preseason, you have a good season. Last year, we had a good preseason and ended up in 3 cup finals by December. So it's vitally important for us to have a good preseason. Once again, I think with BV is going to be very, very different. It's going to be very, very difficult. But at the same time, you need to work hard to be in good shape. So we are looking forward to it. And look, we only have 3-4 weeks, and it's the Black Label Cup again. But we're all looking forward to it, and there's press for Pirates, and if you coach Pirates, you have to win something. So, important for us to win the Nedbank Cup, and gives us momentum in becoming season.
Yeah, there's no question that Orlando Pirates season was made by that. But I always said all the way through those 3 cup finals you got to, I think it earned the club 13.5 million rand, especially the Champions League final, obviously, and the Telkom and the MTN 8. And then to win that 4th cup final was just icing on the cake. Everyone's saying, oh, it's rubbish, you've lost 3 finals and all that. Getting to the final in itself is brilliant. The worst thing in the world, surely, for a footballer is to lose a semi-final. We've lost
there we
Klate.
go. That's what happens when you get a journalist asking a stupid question to a footballer. He puts the phone down.
It's true, Fishy.
Never.
Losing a semi-final is much worse than losing a final.
Never.
Truth.
Never.
Fact.
Because you will never remember who you played in the semi-final. We all remember who played in the 2010 World Cup final, which was Spain-Netherlands.
Absolutely.
The worst thing is losing a final. And now you've asked Daine.
You've asked
Daine a question of getting to 4 cup finals, and you mentioning 13.5 million. It's not about the money. It's about getting to a cup final and winning.
Not about the money.
No, it's not about the money. Money.
Fishy, it's all about the money, mate. Klate, are you back?
Yeah, I'm back.
Fishy's just punched me twice because I asked you a silly question. Tell him, which is worse, losing in a semi-final or a final?
I would think losing in a final, eh? Not nice losing.
Damn it. Okay, I'm gone. Fishy wins. Go on, Fishy. Go on.
No, exactly.
Justify.
Well, you
talk about it. Pro to pro.
You got a journalist there, and when the line went dead there, I said you asked a stupid question, and that's why you put the phone on. He was trying to justify losing. It's worse losing in a semi-final than a final. But as we all know, it's obviously worse losing in a final, because at the end of the days, we all remember. We never remember second place, but we all remember who plays in the final. And then as a player, there's nothing more devastating than working so hard, getting all the way, and a final being a one-off game. You got the chance of winning and obviously going on to lose. But yeah, I'm sorry, we're actually talking with a journalist here, and I do apologize for that.
A journalist that's played fucking 3,000 games of football and hates losing semi-finals.
My word, 3,000 games of pub football, but yeah.
Klate, you've let me down, mate. I fucking hated losing semi-finals, and I thought you guys did great. We've got to go. We've got to leave it there, Klate. Who's your pick for the World Cup?
At this point in time, I would like to go for one of the dark horses. I would say after Chile's performance last night, I think I would want him to win it.
Yeah, no, agreed. Fishy, you finish with him, mate, because you're a pro and he's a pro.
Well, Daine, just wishing you all the best for the season. And once again, I mean, I see it year in, year out. Whichever team you're playing for, you show the passion and desire. And let's hope that passion and desire, we see it again this year, and it's infectious on the rest of your Orlando Pirates teammates.
Thanks so much, Mr. Fish. Hopefully, I see you in SAFA President one of these days.
Funny guy.
Brilliant stuff. Thanks, Daine Klate.
Good, Mr. Collins. Thanks,
Cheers,
man.
mate. Cheers, mate.
Cheers, bye.
Balls.co.za